Okay, good morning again. We're going to get started. This is our first hands-on activity. The first hands-on activity that we're going to be doing is how to access JPSS data and products using Class, Direct Broadcast, and GEONET Cast. I'm going to be introducing Jorel Torres. Joel is a young professional that is a Research Associate 2 at the JPSS Satellite Liaison at the Cooperative Institute for Research in the Atmosphere, or CIRA. It's located in Fort Collins, Colorado. His work incorporates facilitating interactions between the National Weather Service forecasters and the researchers in the meteorological field while producing training for forecasters on polar orbiting satellite products that are in AWEPS 2. So welcome, Jorel.
Thank you. So yes, this first section, I'll be talking to you guys about NOAA Class and just a nice little demo. And if you guys can follow me via your mobile device, your laptop, phone, that'd be great. So I'm going to transition here between PowerPoint and then also online. So hopefully the online stuff works. So quickly, our objectives here today for my section is that we're going to access the NOAA Class website via that link there, so just www.class.noaa.gov. And then what we're going to do is navigate through the Class online website, find the JPSS products that we're interested in, and successfully request and then eventually obtain those products. So our goal here today, we're going to request the Hurricane Harvey event that occurred back in August of last year, and we're only requesting just a certain 12 hours. Pretty much the 29th of August of 2017 between 0 to 12Z. We're going to be obtaining day-night band data, which if people are not familiar, the day-night band utilizes a sun-moon reflectance model that illuminates atmospheric features during the nighttime, and then also some infrared imagery or the imagery band 5 VIRS data, which is at a particular 375 meter resolution as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to transition here to the website. So if you guys can follow along via your mobile devices, that'd be great. And if I need to go slower or faster, just let me know. So this is what let's see, maximize that. So this is what the website looks like here. So NOAA Class, it also stands for the NOAA Comprehensive Large Array Data Stewardship System. Pretty much a very large electronic library of environmental data for you at your disposal. Once you're here, is everyone here, first of all, at this website? Okay. So once you're here, you'll have two options. If you're not familiar with NOAA Class, what you're going to do is go to the top left here where my cursor is and click on Register. Don't worry, you don't have to pay any fees or anything like that. It's free. So all you got to do is just put in your credentials or just your information here. And hopefully this goes, okay. And what you can do is just fill in the information here that have some of the asterisks here. So just your first name, last name, password, and then also your email address. You can put in some additional information there if you want. That's totally up to you. And then what you're going to do is just click Register. If you're already, if you have already registered like myself, you're going to actually go to the top left here and click on Login, and then just put in your credentials here. So I'll put in my information here. So everyone go ahead and put in all your information. Click Login. Ooh, what happened? Incorrect. Hold on. Okay. So after you're able to log in, what you're going to do is go up to the tab here that says please select a product to search, and then click that tab here. And since we're looking for the day-night band and the imagery I5 band, we're going to go look for the VIRS SDRs. So if you just scroll down using the scroll wheel, you can go all the way down to It's a JPSS Visible Infrared Imaging Radiometer Suite Sensor Data Record, VIRS SDR for short. Click on that. And then once you do that, to the right of that tab, click Go. Once you do that, it'll give you a nice little data description of your inquiry or the particular data that you're interested in. And then it'll also have some sub-tabs. It'll have some additional information, if you click on the plus, some details about your metadata that you're inquiring of, some SMPP documentation, and then also some your different file format that you're going to have here, HDF5 here, and also some supplemental information here. Also, another tab here will have some additional notes on your particular data that you're interested in. The next section here under spatial gives you a nice little interactive map of, so you know this is the type of data that you want, but which domain do you want? So you can use your zoom in, zoom out capabilities on the top left. You can use your left, right, up, down, pan. And then what you can do is zoom in here to pretty much southeastern Texas, where Hurricane Harvey occurred. And what we're going to do is make a box over this region. I'll keep zooming in here. And what you can do is just use Shift and then left-click drag. So Shift, left-click drag. And it'll create a box for you of that particular area. What you can also do too on the right here, I know it's kind of formatted a little differently than I'm used to, but you can put in, if you know the actual north and south latitudes and west-east longitudes, you can do it that way too. I usually just do the box, make my life easier. So you have your domain of interest there. Now temporally speaking, what day here? So it was August 29th, 2017. So just put in 2017, 8, and then 29. You could also use this little icon here that also brings up the different dates as well if you want to use, if you're more comfortable using it that way. So you have your start time, your end time, which will be the same day because we're just inquiring of 12 hours here of that same day. So the 8th, 29, and then start and end time-wise is just 0 to 12Z. So put in 12, 0, 0, and then 0, 0. You can leave it as the entire range of days here on the specify the range of times for. And then the node, click descending since you want the early morning orbit. Satellite is SMPP. And then the SDRs, so we were interested, click on the box for the day-night band, SDR. Then go down to the VIIRS imagery band, 5 SDR as well. So those two. And then if you keep scrolling down, you just got to make sure with those two particular data files, you got to have your geolocation files as well, or else it won't properly display in your particular software package. So make sure it's the VIIRS day-night band ellipsoid geolocation file, and then also your GitCo file or your terrain-corrected geolocation file for your imagery band. And then after that, a quick way to get to your shopping cart, so to speak, is quick search and order. And then since you put in all your information already, you'll have the email that you'll be notified at. And what you can do is just click place order. And you click place order. And then you'll get 2 subsequent emails. The first email will just verify that you were interested in this particular data. And then within 24 hours, you'll get a confirmation email of that particular links to obtain that data that you're interested in. And now I've gotten data files quicker than 24 hours. It just depends on the data volume. So if you're ordering for several weeks, that might take a lot longer than ordering for like what we're doing today. So, and let's see, I'll go back to my PowerPoint real quick. Let's see, just for some additional information here. So here's just some additional information. So we have the J1 data, or sorry, the JPSS one that just launched. It has become NOAA 20, and it's going to be placed in the same, or it has been placed in the same orbitable plane as SNPP. They'll operate approximately 50 minutes ahead of each other. And the data latency into NOAA Class is actually approximately 6 hours, just so you know. And that's from when the satellite overpasses the domain of interest to when it's processed and available in NOAA Class. Also, there's a link there, an FTP link for for an array of SNPP products via tar files for the last 90 days. You can click on that link and you can access other data as well. And then the current NOAA 20 data and products are currently undergoing testing, as we all know. So it's currently preliminary, non-operational. So all that data currently with Class will be restricted for a while until they go through that process and make sure that the data is good and good quality. But if you have any other additional questions, I've found it helpful to contact the NOAA Class people themselves, and they have a particular help desk that you can ask them as well for certain inquiries as well. Also, I didn't really highlight it, but some other options that you have, and if you follow just this quick little animation here, is some of the environmental data records. What we just obtained today was sensor data records, but you could also inquire of some of the environmental data records from like VIIRS. If you could see that, if you go on to the next thing, this is what it kind of looks like. I'm sure that's readable. Actually, what I can do is I'll quickly go back out to the NOAA Class portal so that you guys can see it. So I'll just go down real quick. Environmental data records. And here's just some of those type of different products that are out there. I know a few of the instructors that presented before me have mentioned, such as VIIR active fires, aerosols, cloud products, land, ice, surface temperature products that are available, ocean color, snow cover, vegetation indices. The list goes on and on. But just letting you know that those are out there as well via NOAA Class that you can inquire of as well. And then also just some supplemental information as well. What do the data files look like? With our particular inquiry today, they were HDF5 files. I've seen them in other different types of files. For example, NetCDF files. I've seen those particular files from NOAA Class as well, and other types of files. As I mentioned before, there's sensor data records and record files and terrain geolocation files you have to be aware of when you're obtaining the data. Also, once you get the data via the emails and you don't have a particular software package to display it, there are some free software packages out there, such as McISV, Hydra 2. Also, there's Python as well. But here's just two links of McISV and Hydra where you can go to those links and download those software packages, and then you can properly ingest and then display your data. So just letting you know about that those exist. And then for our particular example, this is what it looks like in McISV of that Hurricane Harvey event. This is a day-night band image on the 29th at 7:59 This is actually, this particular image occurred during a moonless night. So it's a little bit faded, but you can still see the center of the circulation of Hurricane Harvey as it slowly moves, as we know that it inundated southeast Texas, and then the eye slowly moved off the shore on the Gulf of Mexico and then moved back onto shore as well. So at this particular timestamp, you could see just the magnitude of the storm with the overlying cloud cover, and then you could also see the emitted city lights of all the cities in Texas there, Mexico, and along the Gulf Coast states. Also, in complement to that DNB data, you have the I5 data, the infrared data at that same time. So, but that's just give you an idea of how it looks like or what it looks like in McISV. And I know I kind of went through this relatively quick, and I just leave you with quick little video. There's no narration to this, but it just shows you what we just did. So, but if you have any questions, whether it be now or later, please don't hesitate to ask. Eric.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Jorel. And okay, I'm going to try to deliver a constructive criticism. And until now, I'm new to class. I didn't even know what the acronym stood for until your presentation here. But I was having a conversation with someone else in NOAA who will remain nameless, and in my liaison function, it was the wet side of NOAA, and we're trying to find uses for satellite imagery, maybe for ocean applications, and just seeing what's out there. And we were talking about old events and archive data, and I mentioned her, well, you know, I knew of CLASS from the NewCaps project. That's where Tony Reale has pointed us for archive data. And I said, do you ever go to CLASS? And she said, you know, CLASS is one of the safest archives of data ever designed by humanity, because you can't get anything out of there, is what she said. Now, I bring this up, if we expect users to embrace CLASS, I didn't know enough about CLASS to provide a response to that comment. It seemed like kind of a harsh comment, and she was being flippant, and this wasn't like on the record for an official presentation or something. But in your experience with CLASS, what are some of the shortcomings, and what do you recommend people do to make CLASS the most successful thing it can be? In your presentation, the first thing that pops to my mind is it can take a long time to get the data out of it, and then you need to, what if you're not sophisticated enough to install and configure your own HTF5 decoding software or something? Are those some of the hurdles? So with that long question.
Yeah, it's a definitely a really good question. And the first limitation is you're alluding to was the 6 hours it takes to get from the overpass to being available via NOAA Class. Because via AWIPS 2, as of right now, if you're not using direct broadcast, just through the SBN, it's approximately an hour and a half or so. So yeah, with the biggest limitation with NOAA Class is that it's 6 hours. Now the reasoning why it's 6 hours, I'm actually not for sure of. The only thing I do know is that, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like I think a Department of Defense mandate, some kind of mandate where it had to be 6 hours. But I'm not for sure of the reasoning behind that though. But that is definitely one of the biggest issues with NOAA Class. But I think into answering the other questions of if someone may not be as familiar to display the data, that kind of works where I come into play as a JPSS liaison to help with the documentations, to produce easy documentations to display for users to, like, this is actually a lot easier to download, first of all, those software packages, and then to display them, display the actual images. And that's where I can come in and assist where needed. So I hope in all of that answers a few of your questions there.
So what I should have done in that situation was refer her to you.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a downer guy here.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are challenges, and this is why we all get together, is to learn how, from other people, how to solve our issues.
Right.
Definitely.
Thank you, Jorel.